Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who I am, my name is Shook. I make NBA DFS content, NFL content, sportsbooks content, prize picks content. If you ever need to get a hold of me privately, you can get a hold of me on Twitter right here. And then all these videos, they get posted to this subreddit right here where I'll make updates with all the news that comes out throughout the day. You can ask me questions about the slate leading up to lock, after lock. I will always be around here. Some nights I won't be around after lock, but most of the time I will be able to get to night slate questions. Just depends on the time. Like if it's 30 minutes before night slate lock, probably not going to be around. But if it's like hour or so before, I'll most likely get to your questions. So, and if you're looking for more in-depth content, I'll have my Discord link down below where I give you guys player pools, cores, sportsbook plays, prize picks plays, anything you can think of. NFL content, cash cores, GPP, flag plans, and GPPs. I do everything. I'm in there 24 hours a day. I literally have no life. This is what I live for. Grinding. I don't take days off unless I'm sick. Of course, you guys know that does happen to me. About once a year, I have to take a week off because I do get sick, but yeah, let's get in my lineup tonight. And I apologize for the little bit of the lisp because my tooth. You guys know I got a tooth pulled and it's still healing a little bit, so I have a little bit of a. I don't even want to say it, but I apologize for that. LaMelo Ball sunk me tonight, guys. Just absolutely sunk me. If you played LaMelo, you just didn't win money tonight. It's simple as that. I told you guys that Atlanta Washington game, that Toronto Charlotte game were two best games on the slate. It wasn't a secret. The field played it. I thought it was all good chalk. That's what I did. I loaded up on those games. Once Isaiah Jackson started, I played him. And then I told everyone my core today was get to at least one of Mogbo Roddy. I played both. Both smashed. Jordan Poole core play. Jackson core play. He did good. And then LaMelo Ball was core play. He just sunk my lineup and sunk everyone's lineup who played him. Round out my lineup with Bub Carrington. I didn't even love Bub, to be honest, but he kind of fit for me, and I knew no one would play him after he's had some pretty bad games. No Kuzma as well, so I thought his minutes might be a little bit safer. I didn't love clicking on him, but ended up working out. He smashed. What else then? Played Trae Young and Jalen Johnson. He was a flag plan for me today in GPPs. I knew he'd get steamed, but I still absolutely loved him, so I wasn't fading Jalen Johnson today. But yeah, LaMelo just sunk me. Unfortunate. Hope you guys had a great night. Hope you didn't play LaMelo. And we're just gonna go over the slate really quickly. We'll get out of here in 5 minutes or so. Only a 4-game slate. I got stuff to do, so we're gonna fly right through this, guys. All right, okay spot here going up against the Clippers. We have Bradley Beal questionable. Bradley Beal is in. I think the best plays to me are probably the top three guys in Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. Yusuf Nurkic didn't play as much. I think a little bit of an outlier. I think normally if he stays at a foul trouble, he's probably going to play high 20s minutes, which makes him in play. At 6.1K, going up against Zubac, I think it's doable. And then Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. I think Beal at 6.6K does seem a tad bit too cheap. Clearly has a ceiling. Little bit of a lower floor with Tyus Jones. Same with like Devin Booker. A lot lower floor this year with Tyus handling. Doing most of the ball handling duties. Assist percentages, they're going way down, right? But I think Kevin Durant, Booker, reasonable plays. I think there's other spend ups I'd rather go to. I'd rather just probably go all the way up to like a Giannis or a Luka. But you have James Harden right there as well with the team to himself. So yeah, I'd rather play those guys over Kevin Durant or Booker. Doesn't make him out of play. I might even prefer like a Sengun, but yeah, I think Kevin Durant's my favorite. I think he's a good spend up. I would much prefer playing him over like a Devin Booker, right? Tyus Jones at 5.4K, he's going to play decent minutes, and he's going to have the ball in his hands a ton. And whenever you're facilitating for guys like Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, it's going to really raise your floor, right? So he can do a little bit of everything here. And if he does have like a good scoring game, he can nuke the slate. So I always have interest in Tyus. I still think he's a little bit too cheap at 5.4. So do like me some Tyus there. Can't get to much else here. Now, if we get like a Bradley Beal out, I think, it's going to be bumps to like Tyus Jones, Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, of course. I think, the top two guys would look pretty solid there in Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. Tyus gets a bump. I already like him, would like him even more. And that's going to be bumps for like, Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal. We can just take a look at what they did, to be honest. I believe it was the 26th. I have it up here. Ryan Dunn started. Devin Booker played massive minutes. You saw, this was with Grayson Allen out, so you saw Royce play big minutes, but he'll play decent minutes regardless. You saw some Monte Morris get a bump off the bench. So if Ryan Dunn starts again at 3.5K, I don't know if he would. with like a Grayson back and a Royce. I would assume they just throw Grayson into the starting lineup, but I think Grayson and Royson would both be pretty solid values at 4.5, 4.4 respectively. They would get a significant bump. Dunn would be playable at 3.5K, and then I don't know if I get too much else here. And then clearly, like I said, you get bumps like Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, and then they might have a little bit of a tougher time closing small with no Bradley Beal. So maybe, just maybe, Nurkic's minutes could be a little bit safer, but that was more so last year. Moving on to the Clippers. So back to back here. James Harden, I absolutely love. I mean, when Kawhi Leonard's out, no Paul George, his usage is just absurd right now. He's still 9.1K. He's probably going to get you close to a double-double. I mean, he has to do a lot more offensively. Zubac two-man game has just been absolutely elite. I love James Harden here at 9.1K, and I still really like Zubac, even at this price point. He's just been a monster. He is playing massive minutes. I mean, they have, what, is it Kai Jones yet? They have Kai Jones behind him. They have no other bigs on this roster. He's just going to play all the minutes he can handle. And until they price him up to like that 7.5K range, I'm just probably going to keep playing him. I think Zubac looks great. Norman Powell is still too cheap at 5.6K. He should play low to mid 30s minutes. He's the number 2 on offense. He is a massive ceiling. I still like him quite a bit. Don't love the value here, but Derek Jones Jr. I think is an okay value for the slate. We could have better value opening up later. Did I say Ryan Dunn the first time, or did I say Chris Dunn? But Ryan Dunn, you get the point. All right, moving on to the Spurs. When we went to the locker room, looks like he did return. It is a back-to-back here, so could have some potential rest stuff, I suppose. Let's take a look at the minutes and what they're doing so far tonight. You're basically just going to see Keldon Johnson play big minutes off the bench, and that's basically it. Zach Collins will get the backup 5, and you'll see some Stephen Castle with Trey Jones out and Devin Vassell out. So the rest of the starters, Pop's doing a good job running a pretty tighter rotation this year, but Wemby in a great spot going up against Utah. I think looks great. Back-to-back, only concern is maybe he doesn't play his normal amount of minutes. He's not going to play usually over 30 anyway, but Wemby, just elite point per minute. Great spot going up against Utah. I definitely have interest in him. I think Chris Paul at 5'9" is fine. I'd rather play like a Jeremy Sochan, who's taken a huge step up this year, playing big minutes, grabbing rebounds, stuffing the stat sheet. So Sochan, very, very safe play in the mid-range. Keldon's fine. He would be your pivot off Sochan in GPPs, but I don't love it. And I think Champagnie and Harrison Barnes are fine values. It's going to depend. We have teams on back-to-backs. Players got hurt. More value could open up, but as the slate stands right now, I don't mind like a Champagnie, Harrison Barnes. I think they're both solid. Collins will get the backup 5. He's fine. Same with like a Castle at 4.4. But they're getting up to the price points where it's kind of hard to play them, right? Let's move on to Utah. So Hendricks, of course, is out. Lauri Markkanen is questionable. He got hurt last game. If we get Lauri Markkanen in, last game they went with starters. I believe it was Markkanen, Clarkson, Walker Kessler, Keontae George, and Cody Williams, I believe it was. Yeah, that's what it was. Assuming they start Cody Williams again, I think he's a fine value. The only thing, he's not good point per minute. He is not good point per minute at all. So if Cody Williams is going to be really popular tomorrow, I'm probably not going to play him right now. That could change if Markkanen's out, but if Markkanen's in, he's really popular. I'm probably just going to fade. He's just not great point per minute at all, but would be playable at least. And then if they start Clarkson again at 5.2K, even off the bench, I like the price point, but if they start him again, I really like Clarkson at 5.2K. John Collins at 5.6K. Tough sell for me, playing the minutes. Had a bit of a couple outlier games. This game he crushed in a blowout. Or there's one game he crushed in a blowout, not entirely sure. Game minutes last game because of Markkanen, he got hurt. Walker Kessler at 5.7K. His role is just different this year. I'm going to keep saying it. He's going to continue to play around 30 minutes in competitive games. Good shot blocker. Going to get you close to a double-double most likely. He is still too cheap for those 30 minutes, so I still like Walker Kessler. Keontae George, Colin Sexton, give me Keontae over Sexton, assuming Sexton continues to come off the bench. I do think this price point is also a little bit too cheap. Markkanen's fine. This guy just caused me so much pain. Now, if we get Markkanen out, that changes a lot. Starters, I would assume, would be... what did they do? I believe they started Filipowski in the second half, so they went with Keontae George, Walker Kessler, Jordan Clarkson, Filipowski, and Cody Williams, I believe. I have it up. We can just take a look. Yeah, they started Kyle in the second half. So it went with double big lineup. which makes sense. So if we get Filipowski, I mean, even if he starts or comes off the bench, he's going to have to play more here. He was really good in the Summer League, but if they start him, he would be one of the better value plays in the slate. John Collins would get a bump at 5'6", he'd be fine. And then I would really like Jordan Clarkson. I would really like Keontae George. Sexton would be playable. Walker Kessler gets a rebounding bump. He would be, as far as usage rates, doesn't get a huge bump. Would still be good, though. And then Cody Williams would be a solid value. Might see a bit more Bryce Sensabaugh off the bench as well. All right, moving on to Houston here, guys. You guys know I always love targeting Daniel Gafford. Got into foul trouble here, and then this game was an outlier with his minutes. But always like Sengun at 8.5K. Just going to get you a double-double. Taking another, hopefully, step up this year. I would expect low to mid-30s minutes. So, like me some Sengun. Everyone else just kind of feels there for me. Like, we could have better value opening up, but if no value opens up, I do think Dylan Brooks is a solid value. He's just playing massive minutes right now at 4.4K. Tari Eason's playable. And what else? Jabari Smith. Keep an eye on Steven Adams news. They could play Jabari Smith some backup 5, or they could go to like a Jock Landale. I'm not entirely sure. Especially up against Dallas, I think it's definitely possible they could go to like Jabari as some backup 5. That would bump him. And then Jalen Green, Fred VanVleet, they're both solid. I think I'd prefer playing like a Jalen Green, just higher ceiling, right? And yeah, I think that's going to do it for Houston. Let's move on to Dallas. I think, I might lean Giannis on this slate. Might be a little bit of a contrarian take, but Giannis should be able to feast in that spot going up against Memphis. I don't really think it's close. Luka Doncic, as far as plays goes, I think it's very, very close between Luka and Giannis. Luka probably better straight up, but I might lean Giannis on this slate, to be honest. But Luka's always a phenomenal play. Always a phenomenal play. Not the best spot going up against Houston, but always a great play. Kyrie Irving's still way too cheap at 7.5. I don't know what we're doing. Why are we not pricing up Kyrie Irving? It's like, if you had to ask me, do I play Jalen Green? Do I play Fred VanVleet? Or do I play Kyrie Irving? It's Kyrie Irving. It's not close. It's by a landslide for me. So really like Kyrie Irving. Klay Thompson, you guys know the drill. Has a ceiling, low 4, always in play. And I think both the bigs are still too cheap. Maxi Kleber gives a bump to both of them. Secure minutes. I think both the bigs look like pretty good value plays to me. I think P.J. Washington at 4.8K is too cheap as well. So those 3 value plays look pretty damn good to me, unless other value does open up. You see Najee Marshall off the bench. I will say Spencer Dinwiddie has gotten the backup point right now at 3.5. I think, it's perfectly fine for value if no more value opens up. Moving on to Milwaukee. So, yeah, we talked about Giannis. I think he's great spend up. Probably one of my favorite spend ups on the slate as it stands right now. And I think, Damian Lillard just dropped 60, and let's just decrease the price point. I don't know what we're doing here, but Dame's good. I prefer Kyrie for the discount, but Dame perfectly fine. I think Portis is just too expensive for me to go to right now, but should play mid-20s minutes. Another good point per minute guy. Spark off the bench. Brook Lopez at 5.5 just there for me. And then Gary Trent, this value. Torian Prince should play big minutes. Kind of fine. It's okay. Gary Trent, if he hits his shots, he has a ceiling. But when you're playing alongside Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo, there just aren't too many shots to go around, right? But if he goes 6 for 8 from the field, 7 for 10 from the field, he can nuke the slate. So, yeah, always interested in Gary Trent. Then, yeah, Prince is doable. All right, moving on to Memphis. This is going to be a headache. So, Bane got injured, didn't come back. Marcus Smart got injured, didn't come back. I didn't see an update. I will refresh Underdog while we're doing this video. Maybe we got something on them, but I know they did not return. The tendonitis for Nembhard. So, yeah, if everyone is in for the Grizzlies, they're still going to be on limits. They're still going to be on a back-to-back. I will say Desmond Bane has been the only starter to play on track for over 30 minutes a game. Eddie, always in foul trouble. I don't expect him to continue to play big minutes, but he's perfectly fine as a value. Santi Aldama came off the bench tonight with everyone back. Always interested in Ja, just 'cause it's a good spot. Jaren on a limit, hard to go there. Pippen overpriced with everyone back. Santi overpriced with everyone back. Memphis not too great if everyone's in. Now, if we get Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane out, who do they even start here? They go what? John Morant, Jaren, Eddie. Throw maybe a Wells Contra in there possibly. Not entirely sure, but I think regardless, you're going to see a bit more Wells Contra tomorrow if those guys are out. Both would be solid values. Don't know if they can go with Aldama in the lineup with Jaren and one of the bigs, unless they bench Eddie or something. But he play more off the bench. Laravia would be decent for value. And then if we get like a random Eddie back-to-back rest, then fire up whoever they start at the 5. Then whoever would get the backup 5 would be a good value. If we get like a John Morant sitting on a back-to-back, then Scottie Pippen Jr. would look absolutely amazing. So it's really hard to say right now with Memphis on a back-to-back with 2 players getting injured, and I'm not entirely sure what the starting lineup would be if those 2 guys are out. But I do know that Conchar Wells would get significant bumps either in the lineup or off the bench. Then same with like a Scottie Pippen as well, who get backup point. And yeah, I think that's going to do it, guys. I'll make updates on Reddit when we do get that Memphis stuff either tonight or tomorrow. I hope you guys had a great night tonight, and I will always talk to y'all in the next video tomorrow.